of sharing it with you is that it gives you maybe a picture of who Holly is. And so her friends who have been with her at college and her new husband. And some of you who know Holly because you've worked with her, maybe this will shed some light. So let me paint the picture for you. Some of you know, I think most of you know, that Amy was quite sick for about 3 years and spent a lot of time in the hospital. And so that kind of thrust me into single parenthood in its own way. Amy was in a hospital in Milwaukee, and I had to commute a lot, and I was helping my dad manage a small company. And we had a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And that was my life for about 3 years, and we moved through that. That was a really interesting time. And so I got a little picture of what single parenting was like, and we Lord saw fit to heal Amy through that illness. But there was one moment that I just want to share with you, because it speaks to who Holly is. So if you can paint this picture in your mind, this is how it went. Somewhere in just after Christmas, we were commuting to Milwaukee, sometimes twice a week, sometimes twice a month, just depending on how often her surgeries were. And so my folks had just got done babysitting the kids, and we were at a busy time, and I had to get back, so I'm coming back from Milwaukee to Grand Rapids on a cold winter night. I'm feeling spent. I'm really feeling spent. My mom put the kids to bed, which wasn't easy because she was a fighter in bed, holy smokes. She'd come out 30, 40 times, it seemed like. And so my mom called me on my cell phone and said, Brian, the kids are in bed, and it was getting late, so we kind of did a quick exchange. And I got home, and there were bills to pay on the table, and my wife was sick, and I was tired of that. I was tired of not having a well wife. I was tired of being a dad. I was tired of a lot of things. And I was spending a lot of time feeling sorry for myself, for obvious reasons, whatever. And so here I am, I'm sitting at the dining room table, and I'm writing out checks, and I'm just tired. I think you guys can relate to that. And I feel like I'm just about to give up, I suppose. And so I'm sitting at the table, and Holly, well, this is a picture. I'm sitting there, and it's cold out. And I hear a little shuffling down the hallway. And I know what it is, because the kid did it all the time. I hear footy jammies, and those of you who are parents know what I'm talking about. Scraping on carpeting, and I'm like, I didn't even have energy to tell Holly to go back to bed. I was just like, whatever, watch TV, eat a pizza, I don't really know. And so here we go. So I hear that coming down the hallway, and I'm just done. And Holly doesn't try to negotiate. She doesn't try to talk me into staying awake. She just comes and sits on my lap, and she looks at my face and says, "Danny, I love you." And it was an interesting moment for me, because I realized how God had equipped her to be an encourager. Even as a baby, she was an encourager. If you know Holly, she doesn't even know what glass half full means. Holly's glass is full all the time. And she sees the good and the bad, and she sees the great and the awful. And she does that. And I suppose what I want to do in this moment is just encourage my new son-in-law to tap into that sweet skill that God gifted her with. And I really believe God just nudged her awake that night. She knew exactly what I needed. God knew exactly what I needed, and nudged my sweet daughter awake when I was alone and lonely. And that's a sweet gift that she's got. And so, those of you that don't know Holly, now you know a little bit more about her. God wove that little girl to be an encourager. She answers that call over and over again. And she's going into counseling, Christian counseling, go figure. She's taking that task even beyond into her vocation. So it's a neat way for me to share with you a little bit about her. Those of you that didn't know her, now you know her a little bit more. And it's a neat way for me to encourage my new son-in-law to say, there's going to be dark days. There's going to be times where you're just feeling like giving up. And she will have the opportunity to touch your heart and encourage your mind. So thank you again for coming tonight. We have a fun night ahead of us, and I know that Pastor Scott and the Corvette gents over here are going to make it even more fun. Thank you again for coming.